Hello everyone, Time to Grind here, and today I wanted to make another video on PUBG, and it's been a while since I've talked about PUBG. I talked about it back in the good old days, but I kind of just stopped caring about the game. Not only not playing the game, and not enjoying it, but I stopped even caring about what they were doing wrong. I was still subscribed to the subreddit, so every now and then I would see, a post pop up on my front page about how they're failing this time. And recently I've seen a lot of them, and I kind of started looking up on the subreddit and, looking up videos and stuff, and just people talking about the game, and I started to just really get disappointed with PUBG. And not only that, oh, it's a terrible game, but at least they're improving it. It's honestly, they're making small improvements. Some people are like, oh, the game is in a better place than it is back then. But then there are other posts talking about so many new bugs that have been introduced, or how they still haven't fixed blah blah blah, after 80 billion years. And just overall, I know the title of the video is a little extreme, because obviously, I don't want people to lose their jobs, and that's kind of like the overall what would happen if PUBG died. And I don't want that to happen. There's a lot of people that work on PUBG that aren't to blame for this. But overall, the way PUBG has been dealt with, it honestly does not deserve to be as popular as it is. And that's why I'm glad Fortnite, although I don't personally enjoy the game, I'm glad Fortnite is kind of extremely popular, and it has surpassed PUBG immensely, because they actually care, and they have a game that works very well, and they're constantly introducing fresh new things, while you just have PUBG, which, first of all, the game still runs terribly. Although some people, claim, I think I might have talked about in a video a long time ago, said, oh yeah, I'm getting a couple more frames now, it's not lagging as terribly as it used to. It's still, like, impossible for me to get, like, above 60 FPS. And, if you're in a firefight or something, you're in a specific part of the map, you drop down to 15 FPS, whatever. The game honestly looks like a slideshow. And there's still so many bugs that it's ridiculous. I keep seeing GIF after GIF of, people in the subreddit making, GIFs where they go into a building and there's a person on the ground or whatever, and they just start firing at the person, and then they don't die. The bullets just go straight through them, whatever. So they're like, okay, this person's probably just lagging, let me go, walk away, and then they die to the person somehow. It doesn't matter. And, you have so many bugs of just, constantly, for a random second you get disconnected from the game, and then you come back and you're instantly dead. Or there's bugs where you're walking around and then you just fall through the, through the floor. It's ridiculous. And obviously, if this was an early access game, which, keep in mind, that's another thing I want to talk about in a little bit, but it's not in early access anymore, supposedly. The devs have said the game is finished, it's fine, it's no longer in early access, yet the game is worse off than most early access games. They are making new maps, so there's been 2 new maps past the original one. One recently just came out. But they haven't fixed any of the core problems with the game. You still have so many massive bugs that have been in the game since day one. You still have the game running terribly. And although it's like great and exciting sometimes to have a whole new map, especially in a Battle Royale mode where, a whole new map is this huge, gigantic project. And I can see how, it's really cool to get that new kind of content. And that would be cool if the game itself worked, which it doesn't. So instead of going and trying to fix the core issues of why the performance isn't working well, and obviously, by the way, I'm not trying to like backseat, develop here. I am not a developer. I do not know the ins and outs of how this stuff works, but I know that if they didn't work on so hard onto all this, obviously I'm not saying the people that make cosmetics should go work programming and trying to fix performance, because I understand that's not how that works. They have jobs and they don't know how to program. But the people that are programming, and they're making new maps, and they're programming all this stuff, and they're programming these new features, they need to be working on fixing the bugs and performance issues. Although it might make it where, there's not a whole lot of content out for a little bit. There might not be a new map for a while, and a lot of people might be upset with that. Overall, the game would be in such a better place, and that's what they should have done with early access, because when they left early access, I even made a video about it. They were not actually leaving early access. It was completely a publicity stunt. The game didn't get any drastically better from from early access to launch of a game. They just wanted to have their game plastered on the front page of the winter sale. I think it was the winter sale, saying that, oh, they're out of early access. Yay, 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 yay. It's full game. Buy the game. Of course, it wasn't on sale. But what they needed to do is they needed to spend all of that time while they still only had one map and fix the game and fix the performance issues, fix the bugs, and then make it not early access and then launch out. And people would have been a lot happier with that because they would have been like, okay, well, I tried playing the game in early access, it wasn't whatever, and now the game came out, so I'm going to try it again and be like, wow, this game actually, it runs smoothly. There's not very many bugs. That's actually pretty cool. I'm not saying they have to get rid of all the bugs, but you got to get rid of most of these game-breaking bugs. But instead, people like myself, we played when it came out, or a little bit after it came out, was like, okay, this game is buggy as hell. It's a little bit of fun. I can see why people are having fun. I can see why this is blowing up, but it's not for me because I can only get 30 FPS like most people, and I just can't take that. So then when it launches out in full game launch, I go back and try it again, and nothing has changed. And to me, it's like, well, they're just doing it for publicity, and it's so stupid. It's just such a scummy thing to do. It was purely for monetary, reasons or whatever. And then you have the whole them suing Epic Games for whatever reason. I know a lot of people, there was kind of like some fake news stuff going on that the reason they were suing Epic was because of the Battle Royale genre. And they've stated before that it wasn't because of that. It was because of something else, and it had stuff to do with the fact that Epic was supposed to be, they were assisting with the game with with PUBG because, it's running on the Unreal Engine, and then they released their own game. So, there was some issues there or whatever, but it was still like that. You have no ground. They didn't do anything wrong there, and apparently they just recently pulled back on the lawsuit and are no longer going after them. Which one smart thing they've done recently, because if they had continued with that lawsuit, Epic would have found something that they were doing, and they would have just said, they would have told PUBG, hey, you can't use our engine anymore. Sucks for you. And they would have had like a year to have to completely make a new engine from scratch, and that would have been truly the death of PUBG. But either way, just the whole situation just put such a sour taste in my mouth, because it's like, you're not really just a game that cares about the players and stuff like that. You're just trying to make as much money as possible. And obviously, they're businesses, they're companies, you got the whole thing of them trying to make money, but Fortnite wants to make as much money as possible, yet it genuinely seems like they care about the community. They care about, all that stuff, but when you look at PUBG, and there's just, it just doesn't feel like it, especially when you have stupid, just corporate decision moves like that. And another thing this is a lot of a smaller issue, and because, I was just kind of brainstorming and researching and, doing some things I felt PUBG was really not doing well, or things that they were doing that put a sour taste in my mouth. And one of them was, especially in this newest patch, they're just plastering advertisements of like a future esport event they're going to have, like on billboards everywhere on the maps, and like all the default parachutes have like an advertise for and stuff like that. And not only do I really not like that, because I don't know, it just feels, once again, like when you're being advertised to in your own game, like, I know it's a PUBG event and it's not like they're advertising like, some other product, but it doesn't feel, it just feels corporate to me. It honestly does. It's what it makes me feel, because, you're just playing your map, you look up at a billboard, oh, there's an advertisement. Although it's still for a PUBG thing, it's still just an advertisement, and every single default parachute, same way. And not only that, but the game is nowhere close to esport ready. It's not even ready to have been left out of early access, but they did anyways, and it's not ready for esports, but they're doing it anyways. I think the first esport they event did was just such a cluster. And that's what this is going to be as well. And I personally won't watch it. I don't care enough about this game to, watch it. But I just know for a fact, I'm sure we'll hear horror stories about what happened to it after the event, and it's just, whatever. Then, and don't even get me started on the Xbox version, because, they did release an Xbox version, in case I know my big audience is mainly you know, PC gamers, because I'm a PC gamer, but you know, I still I know a lot of people that watch my videos do play on consoles and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with that. Except if you're wanting to play PUBG on Xbox, because they did release it like an early access version, and it is so unbelievably bad. Think of all of the issues you have with, or you know, people have with the PC port, infinitely times worse on Xbox. And in fact, the mobile port is actually better than the Xbox port, because they do have a mobile port as well, and it's made by kind of like a different company. And the mobile port got the second map before the Xbox version got the second map. And honestly, the mobile port is probably, it's close to being better than the PC port, and that's pretty ridiculous. Obviously, I would never play it because I don't really enjoy PUBG, and also mobile gaming on a FPS game, it sounds terrible. But the fact that it is better than the Xbox port itself is just saying something. But overall, you know, going back to the beginning of this video, I don't want to wish any game to die, because, you know, that there's developers working on it. There are people that genuinely care about the game working on PUBG, and it feels like it's kind of just being ruined by this whole corporate entity, and, you know, a lot of the different issues and mistakes that have been made in development that they're not even trying to fix now. And, you know, although I don't want to wish a death of a game on anything, and I don't want PUBG to die, you know, I'd like to see it be successful and see it get a bunch of more players that, you know, back that, you know, because it has been losing some players. Of course, it still has a ton of players, but it has been losing players, and, you know, I'd like to see it succeed, but I'm okay if it dies, because I feel like it deserved it, first of all, and there's so many better replacements to play. You know, personally, I don't like Fortnite, especially because it's third person. Don't really like that. But if you're wanting to play a battle royale, I don't really see why you would play PUBG over Fortnite, unless you just really, really did not like the theme and the third person of Fortnite versus PUBG's theme and first person, that possibility. But yeah, so that's kind of just my little rant I wanted to make about PUBG. If you guys have any other opinions, let me know in the comments down below, because part of the fun of making these videos is not only talking at you guys, but the conversation that comes afterwards. And if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. New videos come out every Wednesday and Sunday. And like always, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and see you guys next time.